of 2023, when we prayed at Lakewood on the 8:30 service, it's what my mom did, December 11th, 1981. When we prayed, she believed she was healed. It didn't show up for a little time later, but anyway, great to have you at Lakewood today. What are you doing up here? I got a friend with me today, Pastor Nick Nielsen. We're very proud of Nick. He's written his very first book. You Can Live Your Dream. Way to go, Nick. 21 years ago, Nick, have a seat. 22 years ago, Nick showed up as an assistant youth pastor here, and he's been an amazing leader, loyal, faithful, and just so blessed to have. Nick's had 100 churches to go pastor, 100 opportunities, but he says, no, Lakewood's my home. So he's here, sowing and serving with us. And Nick, we're proud of you and just all that you've done. Thanks for being a part of Lakewood.
Hey, thank you. The tables have turned.
Yeah, I know.
I just want to say thank you. You've championed me for, as you said, 20 years, and I'm really a byproduct of this house. And I feel so proud to be a part of Lakewood and so proud to be a part of this team. The book is derived of a lot of ideas and thoughts and principles that I learned in this house. And many of you have prayed for me and taught me so much. And I just want to thank you publicly because you've championed my dreams and you've been such an instrumental part of who I am today. And this whole church, thank you for investing into me. I feel like I'm a son of the house and a byproduct of your faith and your experiences and your encouragement.
Oh, you definitely are, Nick. And Nick started, you were assistant youth pastor, and then I think it was the youth pastor, and then the young adult pastor. Yeah. Y'all did the Sunday night services, but Nick's a great leader and a great builder, and you built that young adults, and then now got him over into the adult services, really helping me now. But your book is called You Can Live the Dream, Trading Disappointment and Discontentment for Peace, Joy, and Fulfillment. I love that, Nick. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it's this idea that you don't have to wait to live the dream. A lot of times in our culture today, you see the cultural cliche like living the dream, a caption on Instagram. You see it all over the place, bumper sticker, wherever you might have seen it used. It's usually to describe an arrival, like I'm experiencing joy and peace and satisfaction now that I've got the career I want, or the relationship I want, or the bank account number that I want. But I just feel like when you come to realize God's plan for your life and who He wants to be in your life, that you don't have to limit your dream to a destination. You can actually live the dream right now. You can experience peace, joy, and satisfaction. So you may not be exactly where you want to be in life, but you can experience the peace that God has designed for you right now.
Yeah, it's so good, Nick, because Paul said, I have learned how to be content in every situation. And I was the opposite, Nick. I used to think, man, I'll be content and I'll be happy when I get there.
Right.
When we get to Compaq Center, when this happens. But now I've learned now that, every day is a gift from God. Yeah. This is where God has us today. And, and you know this, Nick, it's your book. I'll let you talk. But when you reach that dream, there's going to be another dream.
Yeah.
And then you look up and you think, I spent my whole life waiting for something. No, how about this is the day?
Yeah.
I love that, Nick. You can live it right now.
Yeah.
You can flourish in the fire.
Yes.
Even in a difficult situation. But I love too, Nick. You didn't grow up in church like me. You had great parents and all, but your journey was different. I think that's important that people hear.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in church. My parents were divorced when I was 3, and they did the best they could with what they knew. But I didn't really grow up with a real genuine faith, and so it just led me to pursuing peace and purpose and fulfillment in all the wrong places. Searching through high school, popularity, football really became my main focus. That was really my life. And so I just put all my energy and focus into that, thinking that alone would bring me fulfillment and happiness. So I worked hard at it and I focused on that. And by the time I reached high school, of course, not serving God, just getting caught up in all the things that we can tend to get caught up in high school. And I remember the summer before my senior year, coming off of weeks of partying and just trying to find fulfillment in all the wrong places. A buddy of mine called me and he said, hey, I'm going to a church camp and I want you to come with me. And he's like, we're going to have a lot of fun. There's good looking girls there. You got to come. And he just was trying to bribe me to get there. And I said yes. It was one of the only weeks in that summer where I didn't have a college visit for football to go to. And so I ended up accepting the offer to go. And I went to this church camp, and I'll never forget June 18th, 1998. I accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior. And I don't remember what the preacher said. I just remember just being completely captivated by God's presence, and my life was just forever changed from that moment.
That's amazing, Nick. But and that's fantastic. And just how about, your football career? You thought you were going to play, D1 football, good college football, and going hopefully to play pro. But tell that part of the story.
So after I gave my life to Christ, I went into my senior year thinking this is now what God has for me. So I'm 3 months in following Jesus and trying to grow in my faith. And third game of the season, at the pinnacle of my football, success, I tore my ACL. And I just remember that moment, just feeling like all my dreams were lost, gone in a moment. And I just remember grappling with my faith, 3 months in being a young believer, and just going, God, I gave you my life. I thought this was the dream that you had for me, and now it's gone in a moment. And it was tough. And it was crazy how in that season, God redirected my heart. It's almost as if God pushed pause on things and redirected my heart from what I wanted to do to what I was made to do. And so in that season, the desire to pastor grew, and that door closed and God opened another door. Even though a scholarship and opportunity to play football was still on the table, I just felt like, man, the desire to pastor was in me. And so that's what I took a scary step and did it afraid and went after becoming a minister. And here I am today, fulfilling my purpose and doing what God designed me to do.
What did your parents and other people think that all of a sudden you worked all this time for football and they said, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to go be a minister?
Yeah, they thought I was crazy. They thought I was, they didn't understand it. Now, my dad, my mom are extremely proud of what I'm doing, but in the moment it was tough because it didn't make sense. I could have gone on and played football, but it was just an inside desire that I had that God put in me during that rehabilitation time to pursue it.
I love that too, because we all have these disappointments and closed doors, and you could have thought, man, why did this happen? But you know what? The longer I live, the more I realize just as God opens doors, God closes doors.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't understand it at the time, but Nick, if that would have, who knows, God's God, but if you would have went on to play football, your life would have had a different turn. You wouldn't have got to know me and all that. And so anyway, how about Nick? But talk about taking a. I'm joking, y'all. How about taking that step of faith? Sometimes that's hard to take that step of faith.
I feel like I had to do it afraid. In fact, I remember one time when I was in college. This was after I started to pursue ministry. I was in college for ministry, and I decided to go skydiving with two of my friends when we were in college. And when we prepared to go, we went to the skydiving place and we got suited up and ready. We got all the instruction and the training to jump out of this perfectly good airplane. And we climbed 14,000 feet to jump. And we were strapped to an instructor on our back because at that time you couldn't jump, alone the first time. You had to go with an instructor 2 or 3 times before you could jump solo. So we're all like in the empty seat airplane, and we get to 14,000 feet, the door swings open, and it just got real. And I'm just thinking, I'm gonna jump out of this perfectly good airplane. And I see my first 2 buddies go, just boom, out the door. And I waddle my way up with the guy on my back, he's strapped to my back, and I remember getting to the ledge and just thinking, I don't remember anything the instructor told me. I don't remember when to pull the cord. I don't know where the cord is. I don't know anything. And I remember he could feel me reluctantly, like knowing I need to take this step, but I'm scared. And he just whispered over my shoulder and he goes, Nick, you gotta do it afraid. And just the momentum took us. Whew, and I just went down, free fall, all of a sudden while we're falling, I feel this tap on my wrist, and the instructor shows me how high we are, and then he pulls my other hand to the ripcord, and I pull the ripcord, and he guided me through the whole process. Long story short, we landed safely. Thank God we landed safely.
We knew the end of that story.
Yeah. I'm here. But I remember it all began with a crazy, scary step. And oftentimes, there are things that God puts in front of us, and there's a lot of unknowns. You feel inequipped. You don't feel like you have everything put together. You don't feel like you're qualified. And you just have to take that scary step and do it afraid. And when you do it afraid, God will meet you, and He will lead you, and He will guide you. He's our ultimate instructor, and He'll get us ultimately to our destiny. God's promises are often motion activated. The Bible says that that God will lead the steps of the righteous, not our stance. He will lead our steps. And so oftentimes God's waiting for us to move towards that scary thing. And for me, stepping into ministry, it was a scary step. But once I took that step, God provided all the solutions along the way. And I believe when you take your step towards your dream, God, like an instructor, is going to lead you. He's going to guide you. He's going to provide all the solutions on the way to your destiny.
That's so good, Nick. I love that. And Nick, I feel like we all got a lot in common. Never dreamed we'd be here. You never dreamed you'd be writing a book. Never dreamed you'd be doing this today. It's the goodness of God.
Yes, it is. And I can't believe that. I've never imagined I'd be an author. And I just know that oftentimes when you feel that dream and you see that dream in front of you, you just feel like, man, I'm going to come up short. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have all the tools. I don't know if there's so many insecurities I had to work through to write the book. But what I found is that God will always supply what you need when you take that step, when you do it afraid. God will always meet you right where you're at and surpass, do beyond what you could ask, think, or imagine.
I love that. Nick, I won't have you pray over the people, but the book is called You Can Live the Dream. It's officially out next Tuesday, but of course you guys can get it. Nick will be in the lobby over there. You can get it online as well, but we're proud of you. It's going to help a lot of people. Thanks for taking the step of faith. How about praying or speaking of faith over the people as well?
Father, we